This week in Sci-Fi, we've got our eye on a family reunion for Season 3 of Picard. Sydney Science Fiction Film Festival on its way. A first look at the next Black Panther. And Stargate's 25th anniversary. Welcome to Eye on Sci-Fi, I'm Raymond Bedora. A trailer has been released for the third and final season of Star Trek Picard, and it looks very much like a Next Generation reunion. The trailer includes Beverly Crusher, Worf, Riker, Troy and Geordi from TNG, as well as Seven and Raffi from Season 2. Showrunner Terry Matalas has not been afraid to encourage speculation about what to expect, including the possibility of an Enterprise F and the return of the Dominion as the season's bad guys. If true, the final season will weave in elements from not just TNG, but Deep Space Nine and Voyager as well, making this a swan song for all of the 25th century live-action series. Picard Season 3 is expected in Australia sometime in 2023 on Amazon Prime. We'll keep you updated. A teaser has been released for Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. Director Ryan Coogler and writer Joe Robert Cole from the first film have returned for the sequel. The actor who played Black Panther in the first film, Chadwick Boseman, died in 2020, and the role hasn't been picked up by another actor. Instead, Black Panther is being mourned by Wakanda, although the bad guys aren't letting up. At the teaser's end, it appears someone else may be donning the Black Panther suit, but we can't tell who. Black Panther: Wakanda Forever releases in Australian cinemas November 10. The 25th anniversary of Stargate's TV debut was celebrated on the weekend, including a live stream chat with series creator Brad Wright and star Richard Dean Anderson. Wright had previously revealed he's working on a pilot for a new Stargate series, and if that goes ahead, he teased the possibility of a new gate design, the first to be constructed by humans rather than the long-lost race of ancients. While interesting, that may not be a huge surprise to Stargate fans, as each of the three series in the franchise so far have had their own gate designs. Apple have officially renewed For All Mankind for a fourth season. The series follows an alternative timeline where the space race never ended. Season 1 saw the Soviet Union land on the moon first, and subsequent seasons have each focused on events a decade on from the last, with the latest covering the race to Mars during the 1990s. Speaking at a recent Comic-Con, series co-creator Matt Wolpert indicated Season 4 would take a similar jump into the 21st century, although he didn't give any more detail. Fellow co-creator Ronald D. Moore has previously teased a 7-season arc for the series, which would catch up with or even overtake the present day, although that will depend on continued strong ratings. For All Mankind Seasons 1, 2 and 3 are currently available in Australia on Apple TV+. Star Trek fans are mourning the loss of Nichelle Nichols, who brought Lieutenant Uhura to our screens during the original series of Star Trek and the 6 movies which followed in the 80s and 90s. She has been remembered as a trailblazer for women and minorities both in the entertainment industry and as a recruiter for NASA. Nichelle passed away on August 1st, aged 89. Our sympathies go out to the family and friends of a sci-fi icon. The program for this year's Sydney Science Fiction Film Festival has been announced. The festival will be going nationwide this year, and for the first time, audiences will be able to vote directly on an awards category. Joining me now is Festival Director Simon Foster. Thanks for joining us, Simon.
Raymond, it's great to be back here in the studio. I'm very excited to be here. Thanks for having us.
Can't wait to hear what is happening this year with the Sydney Science Fiction Film Festival. Can you tell us a bit about what's new?
Well, the big exciting news is that we've gone national. We're going to have our Sydney season. Will be August 25 to 28 at Event Cinemas George Street. We're also going to have August 25 to 28 at Cinema Nova in Melbourne, where they've taken on the moniker of Melbourne Science Fiction Film Festival. Didn't want to confuse anyone down there. So we'll be screening largely the same program, but with a few variations specific for Melbourne audiences. And then the following weekend, September 2 to 3, we'll be travelling the countryside. We'll be having screenings in Brisbane, Darwin, Adelaide, Perth, and 2 extra sites in New South Wales at Tuggerah and Shell Harbour. So there was a real plan this year to expand, which is part of the reason we joined the Event Cinemas team, the oldest, most professional, most respected exhibition chain in Australia. We're very lucky to be on board with them.
Now, we all know that we love sci-fi, so what is the lineup looking like this year?
Well, it's been a bit of a crazy year in terms of pulling it all together. We were slightly down on submissions this year, so we came about 40-odd films less than we had for last year's festival. But the quality of stuff we've got has shot through the roof. We made the decision to up our, and this is getting a little bit sort of festival directory, but we sort of upped our submission fees a little bit because we wanted to attract a very serious, more higher quality sort of film. And with that, we've got a film called Polaris, which only a couple of weeks ago, as we record this, was the opening night film of Fantasia Fest, one of the most prestigious genre festivals in the world over in Montreal. And Polaris is the story of it's set in a future world, but it's all filmed in the Canadian landscape, and it's about a young girl whose guiding light is the North Star, the Polaris star, and who has this strong bond, this strong connection with who she calls Mother Bear, like a polar bear. And it was shot using a real polar bear and a real little girl. But then what takes over are these Mad Max style villains in the snow, people riding snowboards, and you have this really beautiful, brutal, ultimately very uplifting story. And we've decided to go with that for our opening night film, both in Sydney, where you can see it on the VMAX screen, I should say, and all around the country as well. So we're really excited to have Polaris. Female director, all female identifying cast and crew, a lot of Indigenous culture used in the production of it, and like I say, some of the most extraordinary scenes involving this polar bear, which isn't sort of usually central to a science fiction story, but the way this story is told and the way this character is used is just beautiful.
I can't wait to see the polar bear. That's what I'm...
the scenes with the polar bear are amazing. I don't know how they did some of the scenes with the polar bear, because the way that her and the bear interact is just extraordinary.
We're going to need to see some behind the scenes footage.
Yeah, the bloopers will be wow. I just can't wait.
Next level. Now, I heard that the awards are back as well for this year. Could you tell us a bit about those?
Yeah, this year we're taking the awards very seriously this year. The laurel that we've sent out that goes to the filmmakers when they get selected, we've actually made the point of saying in competition on there, because we want to try to create a sort of prestige around the festival. We will be giving out, as we have from the beginning, the Ron Cobb Best Film Award, named after the great production designer, the man who did The Abyss and Aliens and a whole lot of the great sort of science fiction films of the 80s and 90s. He was a Sydney-sider, married an Australian woman, and spent most of his life living in near Balmain, like Rozelle, around that area there, and travelling back to do these huge projects with the likes of Spielberg and James Cameron. And he passed away a few years ago, and I was such a huge fan of him. We've named our Best Film Award after him. So then we'll have Best Actor and Best Actress in a feature, Best Short Actor, Best Short Actress. We also have a Best Animation Award, because the real surge in submissions this year came from animated shorts, and some of the stuff we've got is just beautiful. And it's in the animation section that we're seeing films from all over the world. Belgium, Iran, Estonia. We've got this amazing lineup of animation films and also student films, which is the other awards category. People from all around the world are noticing that we give a lot of support to young filmmakers, really imaginative filmmakers, stuff that isn't getting chosen for other festivals. We're finding a place for it and finding a big screen for it, which is most important. And yeah, we're very excited to be able to have all of those. And the other thing we've got this year, because over the last few years it's just been me saying, I like that, we give that an award. This year we've got a great bunch of jury members. Anthony O'Connor, who wrote the book Australia, which was sort of a dystopian Australian novel, and Jordan Pakes from the Screenwave International Film Festival. She's the coordinator up there. They're judging all the categories, but as well as those two, we have Emily Dean, who is a director and animator who is sort of hot property in Hollywood at the moment. She did one of the last Love, Death and Robot episodes, and she's Asian Australian who's now living in LA and working within the studio system there and creating these amazing little sort of short animated shorts on the side. So she'll be judging animation. And we've got Sandra Saberis, who is the head of film at the Victorian College of the Arts, as the judge of the of the Student Film Awards. And we've got Mark Toyer, who directed Monsters of Man, which was our opening night film a couple of years ago. He's in for the features. So.
Now, I heard there is a new award being introduced this year. Do you know anything about that?
Oh, I know something about it. It's called the Ion Sci-Fi Audience Award. And we're really excited. You guys have been so supportive of the festival and of me and what we're trying to do with the festival. So it was a no-brainer to have you guys on board to handle our audience award, which I'm keen to see which way it goes because there's so many to choose from. I don't know how you're going to do it, but I'm handing all the technology over to you and you take care of it.
So tell us about when the festival kicks off.
Okay, so August 25 to 28 at Event Cinemas George Street and at Cinema Nova in Melbourne. So that's starting on the Thursday night, opening with Polaris, 4-day event, and then we have a short break where I catch my breath, and then we're off to the other interstate and intrastate sites from September 2 to 3, so literally the next weekend. It's 10 sessions in Sydney, 5 sessions at the interstate site, sort of a best of travelling roadshow. And what we're also doing is we're not just bringing a handful of films out of Sydney and Melbourne and plopping them in other states. We're actually doing some fairly targeted programming. In Darwin, for example, where we're playing at Event Palmerston, we're screening a film called Visens, which is a South African feature film, which sort of looks at how white South Africa deals with the arrival of an alien spacecraft. It's a found footage type film. It's all shot on 16mm and 35mm, and it's how they deal with an alien that comes out that is a black person. And so to take the context of what's happened in South Africa over the years and to sort of comment on it within this science fiction framework, we think that's ideal for the Darwin audience. In Whitford's over in Perth, we're screening The Alien Project, which is a GoPro and iPhone shot feature that purports to record the alien abduction experience. So it literally using hidden cameras that's put on an alien abductee, they go inside a spaceship and go inside. Yeah, so it looks amazing up on screen. So, these are films that we decided maybe for whatever reason didn't quite suit Sydney or Melbourne, but we're going to give Australian premieres to the other state capitals. Melbourne's got one in The Green Woman, which is a locally shot feature from Kestra Nebula down there, a director with a great name, and she's made a fantastic film. And in Brisbane, we're screening Dome House 6, which is the new film from Stephen Osborne, who did Strangeville a couple of years ago that we had at our festival. And he's a really talented, very sort of confident young filmmaker who can tell a great story. So that'll be playing in Brisbane. So yeah, it's a program that we think tries to encompass both, the serious sci-fi, the intellectual sci-fi. We've still got the ray guns and spaceships. We're screening Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, which I'm very excited about. The 4K director's cut version of it, with a new DCP has been struck of that, so it's going to look beautiful on the big screen. And the film that I'm so excited about, because I'm an old man, I remember seeing it back at the cinema back in the day, was Brainstorm from 1983, the last film that Doug Trumbull, the great special effects wizard, directed. He passed away just last year. And it's been a favourite of mine. It was also the last film that Natalie Wood worked on, that she passed away while she was filming. So we've got this amazing lineup of films, and I hope it sort of helps bring people back into the cinemas on the back of just so much happening, the Top Guns and the Thor and the Doctor Strange, all sort of bringing people back into the cinema. We're going to sort of latch onto that, say science fiction is a big screen experience, but it also engages the mind as much as it engages the heart and the sort of the visceral stuff that hits you in the gut as well.
Well, we are just a couple of weeks away from it all kicking off, so I cannot wait to get down there myself and watch a couple of those films.
Always welcome, of course. I'll do your half price on a ticket, something of it. No, so get your tickets. Tickets are all done through the venue, through Event Cinemas, just like you'd buy any other movie ticket. Tickets are up there right now, so if you just sort of skim forward to the dates on the event sites under the cinemas you want to go to, you'll be able to see where they are, and Cinema Nova have them on sale as well. So can't wait for it. It's going to be a great year.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us again.
Thanks, Raymond.
And that was the week in sci-fi. For more news throughout the week, you can go to ionsci-fi.com.